question for you, and it's my pleasure to share this with you because it's something very dear to my heart. It's what turned my trading around and a lot of people that I've coached, and hopefully it's going to help each and every one of you in some way, shape, or form. I want to encourage everyone to stick around too, because at the end of this I'm going to actually be giving you the software that I'm about to show you, and I'm going to give it to you for free. So free gift from NetPicks. It's very valuable if you use it properly, and that's what this webinar is about, really, is showing you how to use it properly. We'll talk about why it's so important. And at any time throughout this presentation you have any questions, go ahead and type it in, and at some point, probably near the end, I'll circle back around and see if I can answer your questions. So you go ahead and type them in any time, and then we'll just go through them at the end. A couple other announcements. One is that we've got this awesome new presentation, another freebie, and it's going to be really great. I'm signing up for it too. I actually can't wait for it. And I'm going to tell you all about that one as well near the end of the session, so make sure you stick around for that as well. So a couple free goodies for you guys just for sticking around, and hopefully more than that, because the information I'm going to share with you will also hopefully be of some significant value. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. I want to try to wrap this up within an hour if possible. I got a lot to cover. So what I'm going to show you today is a tool that we call the Ultimate Trade Analyzer. Just really quick, most of you know who we are, but in case you don't, we were founded in 1996, and we're now in our close to 17th year, actually. This is an old slide. We've developed the UTM, the UMT, the UST, the HVMM, and of course the SST, Keltner Bells, and now the SST Pro, which we are very pleased just was launched a week or two ago. Really thrilled about that. And we've trained not 5,000 but close to 10,000 traders worldwide, and the UTA, what I'm going to show you now, is the must-have tool for any of our course owners. Doesn't matter what system you're trading, if you're trading any of the old NetPick systems or the new, or even any of your own ideas. In fact, it's maybe your own ideas that you will find that this tool is indispensable and of most value. It's actually, this tool is what I use to create the SST. So that should speak volumes by itself. So let's just ask a few quick questions here to get our minds in the right place so that when I jump into showing this to you, you'll be thinking the way you should be thinking. So just ask yourself these questions for a second with me and see if this is going to help your trading, if you have answers to any of these questions. So here we go. What if you knew the best times of day to trade? Markets are 24-hour business these days. Do we want to be glued to the computer? I don't think so. I think we want to trade to make a better life for ourselves, and a better life is away from the computer, at least in my opinion it is. So knowing the best times of day to trade is pretty critical, wouldn't you say? What if you knew the best days of the week? I mean, if you only could trade, if you had a trade plan where you could show up and trade 30 minutes on a Wednesday and that's it, and you can make a living doing that, would that be of value to anybody? You guys seeing the slides? You should be seeing the slides. I see some people saying they can't see the slides. I don't know if you need to log out or log in again. All right, let's continue. What if you knew the exact risk you should take on every single trade? The problem that most people have is that they over leverage. They put on way too much risk. The brokers give you 50-to-1 margin. It's very tempting to use it. You start believing the get-rich-quick schemes and the dream of trading and being able to retire, to be able to fire your boss. Well, guess what? It doesn't happen by using that kind of leverage. Even if you're winning 90% of the time, those 10% losses are going to come around, and if you're over-leveraged, 2-3 losses in a row, you wipe yourself out even though your system is the best trade system on the planet. So you have to know the exact risk to put on each and every trade. This is a critical question you need answers to. What if you knew the exact position size per trade? I mean, this kind of goes into the same question, risk, position size, it's all related. What if you knew whether to take a re-entry trade, whether you should trail a trade or avoid them altogether and make those decisions with confidence? Let's face it, we're at the right edge of the chart. We're looking out into the great blackness to the right. We don't know what's going to happen next, do we? We have to put the odds in our favor and make a trade with an educated guess at best. So you want to make the best guess you can, and you want to make it with confidence, and that's where you cross over the line from gambling to actually making a business out of putting the probabilities in your favor. How much more profitable would you be if you had the answers to these questions? Let's keep going. What if you knew when to stop trading each day? What if you knew when to avoid news or to trade through news? What if you knew if the afternoon trading was better or morning trading? That's a pretty valuable question to have answered. What if you knew the profit factor for every trade type? Does everyone know what a profit factor is? There are some real important statistics that you need to be paying attention to, and I would guess that many of you either don't know what it is or don't pay much attention to the key statistics. What if you knew you could trade less and make more? Quality versus quantity. Would that be valuable? How much more time could you save? Time is money, right? We want to have a better life from trading. You got to answer these questions intelligently and accurately. What if you knew when to stay with the market? What if you knew exactly when it was time to change markets or time frames even? That's one of the trickiest things. How do you know if you're just in a drawdown or if your plan is just not working anymore? You might find out it's not working when it's too late. 20/20 vision in hindsight. We all have that, but that doesn't help us when we're at the right edge of the chart. What if you knew exactly how much risk to take? What if you knew when to be patient and when to allow your system to recover and where you stand at all times? How much more confident would you be? If you don't have confidence, that means you don't believe in your trading, you don't believe in your trade system, you can't trade it as intended, and the results you get are probably not going to be favorable. All right, so if you could do all this with push-button simplicity, well, you can actually with the UTA. And best of all, you could use it with the system and strategy that you're using today. You really don't have anything new to learn except how to use the UTA. How much would that be worth to you? Well, we're giving it to you free. I answered a lot of my what-ifs. I learned I could make more profit stopping at 10:30 instead of 11:30 with crude oil. I could monitor my profit factor, winning percentage, and expectations on every trade. I learned I make more profit starting at 9:30 rather than 7 a.m. on the pound dollar with my trade plan. I learned to not trade before a report on Wednesday and to start exactly 2 minutes after with crude oil. I learned to stop trading re-entries on certain markets, and I learned that to use the power of quitting with 2 winners in the AM and to use a power of quitting with 1 winner in the PM. Does everyone know what power of quitting is? It's a very important concept. It's actually a dynamic goal-setting strategy. It allows you to take what the market wants to give you, not what you want from the market, while also moving your account forward on a regular basis. So power of quitting usually means you try to get 2 winners, have a positive result, and then you quit for the session. It's dynamic. Well, in the afternoon, I learned that going for the 1 win and positive was far more profitable on the Russell E-mini, for example. I learned that with these changes, my win rate went up, my average gain per trade went up, I spent less time in the market, I had more confidence in my decision, and I literally changed my trade plan fairly dramatically by knowing my numbers. Your trade data is a wealth of information. Most traders never unlock this information. The traders that do have a huge advantage. It's the difference between flying with vision or flying blind. Trade decisions should be made with factual detail to back them up. A lot of people just shoot from the hip. They make decisions that feel right. But let's face it, we're human beings and we're intuitive, and a lot of what makes traders successful is being able to take the counterintuitive track. That's usually what works. There's never a guarantee in trading, but you can put the odds in your favor by analyzing your trade data. And if you put the odds in your favor, you're like the casino. You got the house odds on your side. That's how we determine our edge, which is where we make our money trading. Okay, so could everybody kind of agree with those statements and what I just said? A lot of you know this already. Some of you have heard this before. Some of these concepts might actually be new ideas. If there's anything in here that's got you scratching your head, that's good, because I want you to think about these things as I show you now the UTA and the really cool tool that we're going to be giving to you at the end of this presentation for free. This could be something that will change your trading forever and for the better. So let me just pull it over. Everyone can see that. Okay, this is the simplified version of the UTA. There is also a more professional version. Of course, the professional version isn't free. This version is, but it's okay because this version is packed with all the information that you're going to need. And if you ever do decide to go to the pro version, you'll be able to copy over your trade data and have a real simple pathway right into the pro version. So, you know, whether you decide to do that or not is going to be totally up to you. I'll show you how you can do it if you'd like. Many of you already have the pro version. So first of all, let me just kind of explain to you what we're looking at. Many of you have probably heard that it's very wise to keep a trade journal or trade log. You can use this tool as a trade journal as well, and you can literally plot and post every single trade that either you're taking or you're testing. You can back test, you can forward test. There's so many great things you can do with the UTA. We're looking at, you know, some random snapshot of trades that I was back testing back in the day when I was creating the SST trade system, the 7 Summits Trader trade system. And I began testing it with crude oil with a 610 tick chart. Okay, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the original data that I used to create the SST. So you can see it's all the way back in 09. When you get this piece of software, it's going to come pre-populated with this trade data. Okay, so you will have something that you can use, that you can practice with, that you can jump around and utilize the features and learn how all the cool tools that this gives you, how it all works. Okay, so when you get this, make sure the first thing you do is go to File, Save As, and give it a new name. Okay, so that you can preserve your original as a template, and you work with a copy. All right, you're going to need Excel 2003 or 2007, and I believe it also works on 2010. All right, you're going to need one of those 3 versions. It's not going to work on anything else. So these older versions are easy to get your hands on. You can find them online, whatever. It's worth it, even if it's just for using this software, this UTA. All right, so let me get that question answered right away. So let me just scroll up to the top. You can see there's a lot of trades in here. You always want to leave line number 29 blank. This doesn't make sense to you yet, but it will as I start showing you how to use this. You'll see on row 28 there's a green row and a little statement in red that says leave 29 blank. The reason why is because sometimes you'll want to refresh your formulas with this button right here, refresh formulas, and it's going to pull all the formulas from row 29. All right, so that's something that you have to remember to do. Again, I'm going to show you how we put the trades in a moment. I just kind of want to point out to you some of the major things that this is. This is nothing more than a spreadsheet that a very smart engineer designed for giving us real insightful information from our basic trade data. Okay? And so each one of these rows here is a trade. And when you enter your trade, let me go down to the bottom and I'll just show you what you have to do. Well, you can see I don't have a lot of room. I could add 50 more rows if I want with this button. But basically what you do is you put the date in. You don't have to use column B and C. Those are optional filters, which I'll show you in a minute. What you need is the date, the time. These are for going long. These 2 trades, your entry price would be row E or column E, and your exit column F. For longs and for shorts, you use these 2 columns. And then you label your trade. So I've got my trade set up as a basic, B for basic, RE is re-entry. OSOB is a symbol because of one of the indicators we use with the SST, but it really means reversal. Oversold, overbought. When the market's oversold, we take a reversal. And then T, I have a separate trade for trailing stops. So the way I've got this set up is that it's a 2-position strategy, so I put in 2 trades for every trade. You'll notice the same timestamp, the same entry, sometimes the same exit, sometimes different exits, depending on where the 2 positions come off the trade. So you can actually test multiple positions, but you enter them each as a separate trade. Okay? Once you get all this entered into the UTA, I mean, this does take time. It's laborious. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, isn't there a way to do this automatically? And the answer is no. This has to be done manually. This took me quite some time. In fact, I did it, 3 times actually before I ultimately came up with the SST. And of course, I was on a mission to create a great trade system. And so for me, I was really motivated. I know a lot of people have a hard time getting motivated to do this, and I understand that. But once you get into it and you start feeling the changes that occur to you inside yourself, it will change you as a trader, and you actually start looking forward to working with this. Believe it, it actually happens. And I'll explain why in a moment. There's actually very important reasons why doing this manual work of backtesting is so important to success as a trader. A lot of you might be saying, gee, wouldn't it be better if I can just, push a button and get automated results with an automation? And you can do that actually, not with this, but obviously if you're on TradeStation and you have a strategy, yeah, you can do that. You can get automated results. But what you're not going to get is some of the stuff that most people don't realize, and that is how it changes you as a trader, how it gives you the belief and the confidence that you need to take the next trade, even when you're experiencing some red, a bunch of losses. Losing is a part of trading. When you're putting in trades and you're putting in a couple losses in a row, you get a losing session, come right back with another losing session, you start questioning, you start feeling that lump in your throat, you start losing confidence. But if you just stay with the trade plan, the winners start coming. And even despite the losers, the winning results pile in. And you end up with a big result at the end of the week. And you witness over and over again the relationship between wins and losses in a win-loss column. All of a sudden, you don't start, you start losing your fear of the losses, and you realize that the losses are part of the winning formula. When you learn that you have to trade through losses to get to the winners, that's when you take the big step towards success, because there's no way to separate the two. And everyone tries. We all try to avoid losses. What ends up happening is that you avoid the winners, and you end up getting the losses. There's a lot of psychological reasons why that I'm not going to get into today. But you can solve that problem. That's the most important thing, by working with a tool like this. Because when you take the time to put in trades like this, and then you click on over, and you see that you've got an equity curve like that, despite some losses, do you think that was time well spent? If that took you 3 months, and you could show up tomorrow and trade the trade plan according to your plan, do you think that's going to make a big difference to your trading? It is. It's going to make a huge difference. Of course, there's so much more you can learn with the UTA. Once you get your information into the spreadsheet, you can open it up. Now you can start looking at statistics. You can slice and dice your trade data to really uncover some amazing things, like a 70% winning percentage, for example. There's all kinds of stuff up here. What's really cool, though, are the summaries that you can open up. We're looking at a basic view. It gives us the win-loss column, gives you the summary of each session. But what if you wanted to look at the actual statistics of your session itself? You can just look up the column here. Now that we've opened up the stats, take a look at, this is per trade, all right, 70%. But look at the winning percentage per session. It's almost 90%. You think that's going to give you some confidence? How about the weekly sessions? 15 weeks. You think if you're winning 100% of your weekly session, you're going to be able to show up on Monday and take the next trade according to the trade plan? You're going to be able to do that a lot easier, aren't you? Are you going to worry about some losses? Here's a day where it actually lost 66 cents. That's 660 bucks. I mean, obviously, you got to be well capitalized if you're going to trade crude oil. But this could be the Euro US. This could be your favorite stock. It doesn't matter. If you're losing 66 cents and that freaks you out, how are you going to show up the next day to win it all back on the very next trade? The very next trade. 93 cents in one trade. I mean, when you see that happening over and over again, you're going to become a better trader, don't you think? This is a very valuable tool. Let me show you what else it can do. Over here, when I clicked on the expand view button, okay, the basic view is what's going to give you your win-loss column and your summaries. By the way, this comes with video training, so you don't have to remember everything I'm telling you right now, because we're not only going to give you the software, we're going to give you the video training. You'll be able to watch the videos as often as you want, and that you'll learn how to use it. So just sit back and relax. You don't have to take notes. A lot of convenience buttons over here right in the middle. They're really great. We're looking at basic view where you can see the, these basic summaries, monthly, weekly, session, your day summaries, and your all trade results. You got percent winners, percent losers, profit factor, expectation. Expectation is a pretty cool number. That's pretty much whether you could expect your system to make money or not going forward, and we talk about that. There's a tab down here called definitions. If you click on that, it's going to give you the formulas that we're using on all the important statistics along with the definition. So that's a pretty cool little thing right there. You spend time studying that, you're going to learn something. When I go to expand view, here I got all these great summaries that I could open up, including power of quitting analysis. Imagine that. You could literally test quitting strategies. One of the best and most important, though, is what you name your trades. Some of you are just trading from the hip. You don't have a name for a trade. You see a pattern you like. You see something. Maybe a trend line is going to break. You place a trade. You're a discretionary trader. That's fine. You can label those any way you want. You could track those any way you want with this tool. Other traders, myself included, are more system traders. We rely on a strategy that's been proven to succeed, to put the edge on your side and to make money. The SST, for example, the one that I'm developed using this tool, has certain setup types, a basic setup, a reentry, an oversold, overbought setup, and a trailer, for example. And now, of course, the newcomer to the team, the Get Bob trade, stands for get back on board. It's another type of reentry. I've got this unused space here that I can just edit and call this Bob, or Get Bob, for example. And now I can label any new trades that I use that setup, and I can get statistics on those setups. So the reason why you label them is because you can go to the summary tab and open it up, and now you can get specific statistics for your trade types. You can look at your basic setup. You can look at your reentry. You can look at whatever setup you want. You can compare your trailing stop total profit. All you have to do is add up the others. The others are getting out at a fixed target. So you got your basic with 20,000, your reversal trade, which really I just introduced near the end of the study, so there's only 9 trades, but look how profitable those 9 trades were. And your reentries, you add those 3 up, and if that number is smaller than your trailing stop, then you know the trailing stop is producing. But if the number is bigger, maybe the trailing stop isn't the best thing to use on this particular market and time frame. That's a pretty cool piece of information to have, isn't it? Just by looking at your trade data. You didn't do any more work. You already put the trades in, But now you can take a microscope to your trade data and see what's really happening just by labeling the type of trade you're taking. Pretty cool, huh? There's more. Here you can compare your winning trades with your losing trades. You can compare your long trades with your short trades. See if you have balance. Long winners, long losers, short winners, short losers. Pretty cool stuff. That's another way to look at stuff. How about your performance? This is just a running tab of your winning percentage. Trade for trade, a running tab of your profit factor. We looked at the sessions. You could use this column B, and you can compare morning session with afternoon session, even with an other, maybe a European session or whatever. And you can compare those sessions. Time of day, no problem. What if you are looking for that perfect window of time? I've got this set up to show from 8:30 to 9:12. If you type in the bottom, wherever there's a yellow field, you could type in. So by making this 9:12, this automatically becomes 9:12. Then I can set another window. So I don't have, it doesn't have to be 9:12. What if I want it to be 9:20? I type in 9:20, and it automatically updates. Now I got summaries of windows of time. Notice that from 9:20 to 9:30, a 10-minute window, it's winning 92 1/3% of the time. Gee, maybe I just want to come and look for 10 minutes, and if I got a trade, I take it. And if I don't have a trade, I just turn off the computer and go about my day. 10-minute trade plan, there you go. But what about later in the afternoon? From 1300 to 1450, an hour and a half in the PM. Gee, look at that winning percentage. What's that tell you? What if you're trading a 377 tick chart in the morning, but you see that on the 610 tick chart it's winning 90% of the time for the last 90 minutes? It's pretty valuable. Maybe there's not enough data yet. It's only 24 trades. Fair enough. Still points you in the right direction. Keep working on it. Yeah? Does that make sense? Starting to see the magic here? You can't get that from automated testing. You might be able to look at a bunch of numbers, but you're not going to feel what you felt when you put in the trades. You're not going to feel it. It's not going to recalibrate you as a trader inside yourself. You're not going to learn how to remove yourself from the equation without using a manual tool like this. You might be able to talk yourself into it intellectually, but you're not going to be able to talk yourself into it psychologically. That's what this does. This will retune your trade psychology. That's the point. There's couple other studies here that are worth looking at. Day of the week. Yeah, why not? Looks like Wednesday underperforms, doesn't it? 63%. I mean, would you rather focus on Mondays and Thursdays based on this information? Maybe. I mean, 63% is still very profitable, 13 grand, but you got to work harder. Maybe you don't want to work so hard. That's also the day when the inventory report comes out. Maybe you want to adjust your strategy to try to lift that number. How are you going to know to do that if you don't have this kind of information? This is all money in your pocket right here. That leads me to the power of quitting. What if you don't know when to quit trading? Well, with the UTA, not only can you test your power of quitting, how many wins and positive, that's, you know, it says 99, but what if I wanted, notice that it's 63,720 bucks right here. But what if I want to quit after just 2 winners and a positive result? Well, keep in mind that this is a 2-position approach, two trades per trade I showed you earlier, so you might want to put a 4 in there. Well, it still was profitable, wasn't it? It wasn't as profitable, but you got to factor in commission. But you could study it. What if you wanted 1 win and done and that's it? Well, that's pretty profitable too. 20,000 bucks with a whole lot fewer trades. You could also change this to style B And then you're looking at these bottom numbers, a number of wins or a number of losses, whichever comes first, and then you quit. So maybe you hate losing more than 3 trades in a session, and you're going to quit with either 4 winners or 3 losses. Of course, I'm doubling the number because it's 2 positions. Well, what's that going to give us? That was pretty profitable, $43,500 with a whole lot fewer trades. 70% winning percentage. Not bad. Imagine being able to do those studies before risking 1 penny of your real money. And then this part is the same thing, but this is for testing the PM session. So you can do a separate power of quitting for the AM and a separate power of quitting for the PM. Pretty cool, huh? All right, along the bottom you look at the same information, but you look at it in a graphic form. Okay, your trade performance, there's your equity curve. Here are a bunch of equity curves for each one of your setups. We looked at it in columns, but now you've got an equity curve for your trailing stop, your basic trades, your re-entry trades, and like I said, the reversal I added near the end. But you could also look at it over here in a table, and you could actually see in another way, not only from a dollar point of view, but from a points point of view. This is real valuable stuff. And if you, especially when you start looking at time of day, when you look at time of day, you can come up with the best window of time just by looking at this. Do I really want to trade for 60% winners when I could trade for 73% or 92%? Look at the profit factor difference, 4.92 versus 1.34. How about that one? 16.66. Is that revealing? So let me just review, because I know there's a few people that are coming in here wondering where the trades are coming from. So I'll go back and I'll show you that in a minute. Just going to show you the day of the week. You know, you can look at day of the week. Maybe you just focus on Mondays and Thursdays and that's it, and you're perfectly happy. You got some pretty big numbers on those 2 days. You work 2 times a week. That's the kind of information you could get when you're putting a trade plan together. So back to the data tab, all these trades I put in manually. And so let me just kind of give you a clue on how I did it. Let me pull up a chart real quick. All right, well, I was going to show you this. This is some automation, all right? So if you were going to do an automated back test, for example, let me pull up one where I can show you a sheet and show you a little comparison. Where did I put it? All right, let's look at SLV. This is a silver ETF, all right? Very profitable market to trade silver, but silver futures are very expensive. You have to be very well capitalized. But you could participate in the silver market with the SLV ETFs. I like a 195-minute chart. It's a pretty awesome strategy using the SST. So, I mean, with the automation, you know, you can just go to View, Strategy Report, and boom. There you go. It gives you some pretty cool information, doesn't it? $73.90 per share profit, right? I forget the date range, but it's over the last 103 trades, 73% winning percentage. That all looks really good, okay? But this isn't going to give you the same thing that you get from doing the work manually. But what this will do is point you in the direction of what to do manually. See that equity curve? Pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, the SST is that powerful, no doubt. But if I want to trade this, there's no way I'm going to get those same results by relying on this information. I have a trade plan. I could logically see it works, but there's some losses in there, and when I'm experiencing those losses in real time as a human being, I don't think I'll have the confidence to stay with the trade plan. Most people don't. So I'll answer some of these questions I'm seeing. Let's look at the SLV on a trade plan that's a little bit modified. See, what I did was I found that trade plan with the automation, but then I went through the charts manually, dating all the way back to 2008. All right, so several years. And I also labeled my trades not with a position, not like a type of trade. You don't see it now as a basic or re-entry. No, what I did was I labeled each trade as a particular target on the chart. Over here I labeled in the filter column what kind of trade it was. Oversold, overbought, an add-on trade, basic trade. Later I can go through and sort this information from this column and then copy and paste it to a new sheet to get even more precise data, okay? But I went ahead and went through the chart. Let me just pull it up and I'll show you. In fact, I'll do one. Let's just pretend we're on the next trade and I'll show you how I did it. Just so we could all be on the same page. Let's just say, let me turn this automation off for a second. And I'm back testing this, and I'm right here, and I'm clicking. I don't know what's going to come next. Whoops. And then I see I've got a setup right here. Let me make this bigger so everyone can see it actually. All right, let me do it again. All right, let's just say I got a setup right here. Hasn't triggered in yet. There it goes. On this bar, it triggers in. Everyone see that? Where's my data window? Let me just pull that up too. All right, so all I have to do is put in this date, 9/12/2011, and this time, 9:45. So I go over here, 9/12/11. We'll do it as a 4-position approach because I was testing a 4-position trade plan. And the reason why I was testing that was because these are very inexpensive options. You could literally make the type of leverage you make trading a futures contract and silver futures, you know, proportionate, with very inexpensive options, just straight calls and puts based on the symbol on the chart. So I decided to test a 4-position approach. 3 fixed targets and 1 trailing stop. Okay, it's 9:45, which I would put right here. See how fast that is? It's really easy. You learn how to copy and paste. It's even faster. And it's a morning session, so I just can copy there, paste it there, and this is a basic trade. I'm not going to explain to you why. It just is. I know the system. And then I have to put my entry here. So that's easy. Let's pull up the chart again. Of course, I use multiple monitors. It makes it even easier. And the entry is right there, 38.88. So let's put that in. And I can just copy and just paste it down if I want. Paste, paste, paste. And I know I'm going to go to the 1x, the 1.5x, the 4x, and use the trailer. So that's different labels for target distances. So copy and paste again. Very easy. Now all I have to do is go to my chart and just keep clicking. And let's see what happens. It may win, it may lose. Click, click, click. See, I'm experiencing this trade in fast motion. But if you were going through this, each one of these bars between 15 to 195 minutes, it's a custom setup here on these particular charts, but are you going to, you know, are you going to be able to hang with the trade when it moves against you? You might have a hard time if you're relying on just an automation report. Okay, so right here, it hit the first target, and that first target is 37.35. So I can quite simply put in on target 1, 37.35. I just posted a trade, made $1.53. But as an option, it would have made, you know, maybe 70 or 80 cents, but you would have only had 10 cents on the dollar invested, and your percent return would have been huge. How about the next one? Let me just pull this a little bit over here just so I could quickly click over. The next one got hit too. Look, target 2. Target 2 went to 36.58. 36.58. That one made $2.30. Let's just continue this trade just to its end. Well, look at that. It hit target 3 as well. 32.75. Let's go ahead and put that in. 32.75. Now we just got to follow the trailer, and the trailer, you can see the dots. It's automatic. I just got to follow them, and it comes off right here at 31.79. So let's finish the trade, 31.79. Let me pull it back into the middle. We'll see how it did. Yeah, that one trade made 17 bucks on the 4-position approach. And that's just trading the straight stock symbol. I'll let you imagine how much that would have been trading options. Would have been huge. By experiencing these trades, click by click, bar by bar, and building up a win-loss column, well, in this case, a win column, I don't really see any losses. You have to go pretty far back. There's some losses. The losses exist. I mean, it's only winning 74.3%. So you got 25+% that are losses. Still pretty good. How much confidence are you going to have knowing that you were able to make $173 per share? And then I'll let you figure out what that would have been in options. This is just one market, but it's a way to use the UTA. Notice how I labeled the trades based on the target instead of the trade type. The flexibility that this tool gives you, the only limit is your own imagination, because you can learn so much when you start living with a win-loss column. You start not worrying about the losses. Then it's just about putting on the proper risk so that if you lose, you know what? You stubbed your toe, but you didn't lose your legs. That's okay. You start getting some pretty big calluses. That's the magic of this sort of exercise, manual backtesting using a tool like the UTA. So I've shown you a lot. I want to get to questions, but before I do, it just wouldn't be right if I didn't show you what the full UTA gives you. Now that you saw what the UTA simple version gives you, let me just bring up the UTA Pro version. It basically looks the same, but you do get a lot more numbers in here, and of course training that shows you how to teach or how to interpret those numbers. But you get a couple things that are very important that you don't get with the UTA simple. One of them is that you get these stability graphs. These stability graphs alert you if your trade system starts to fall apart. You get a rolling winning percentage. Each one of these dots is the winning percentage for the week. Okay? It's pretty cool. And you can see how it vacillates around. But the most important thing is that you see that that winning percentage stays right up in around the 60+, 70% range. Doesn't really waver. It also shows you that you had to go through about 100 or so trades until you hit your stability level. So it kind of warns you as to where you need to, how much data you need to put in before you can start relying on it. Okay, that's pretty important. Tony, I'll get to your questions in a moment. Okay, and then here's your profit factor. Again, similar concept, and then your expectancy graph. So all stability graphs. If these start going down, that warns you that maybe your system is falling apart. Not that it's a drawdown, but literally you might actually, your market and your strategy may no longer be working. Another cool table is the expectation table. This comes with the Pro version. You line up your average win over your average loss with your winning percentage, and it shows you a number. Anywhere in the green is immensely profitable. Anywhere in the yellow is very profitable, but you got to be careful that you don't move closer to the red. Anywhere in the red, and you could expect that your system will not make money going forward. This is not an expectancy table, it's an expectation table. It's different. By monitoring this table, you can learn whether or not your system or your method of trading is expected to make money going forward. Pretty valuable. But maybe the most valuable, well, I'll show you two more things. You could look at your trade distribution. This is pretty cool because down here is the number of ticks, and up here is the number of trades, and you can see where your trades are landing and what they're producing. You can see your outliers. Here's a trade that produced 156 ticks, and that's a $1,560 trade right there. But you can compare your losses with your winners. You got these tall ones here because of the aggressive nature of the SST money management strategy, where you're getting out of the way of losing trades with very minor profit break-even style trades. And you see that reflected in the trade distribution. Okay, it's pretty cool. And you could even compare your longs with your shorts. Pretty good balance. That's what you want to see. Okay, but if you were seeing one where there was just way more winners on the longs and way more winners on the shorts, at a quick glance you know that maybe you only want to trade longs. And then you've got some probability ranges that you can set up here using standard deviations. This might be a bit over a lot of your heads, but it's covered in the training and you have the tools right here. It's really cool stuff. You can learn a lot from that. But finally, the thing that the Pro version gives you is money management features. This gives you a fixed fractional money management tool. You can literally say how much starting capital you want to start with, how many contracts you want to trade up to. In other words, as your account grows, you add positions or you subtract. You could put in a risk factor. In this case, I put in a 3%. So the system is going to test 3% of my capital on every single trade, and it's going to be based on the average losing trade. Okay, it's all up here. And then you click on the equity curve button, and it's going to run a study, and it's going to show you what you would have made if you incorporated this money management strategy. You could also put in a dollar amount for commission and for slippage, and it factors that in. It's going to give you a net result. I already ran this earlier because it takes a little time. I'll just show you what it ends up looking like. The single contract per position would have grown your account to $105,000. Remember, it started with $40,000, but it subtracts out commission and slippage. Not bad, right? 65 grand net of commission and slippage. But what if you were to use 3%, trade up to 30 contracts, and follow that fixed fractional money management strategy? This is how much money the same trades would have made. $1,727,000. The exact same trades. Does that teach you something about your trade system? Does it get you thinking about the real potential of your trading? It should. Most people don't give enough attention to money management. It's one of the most important things to trading. You can come over here and you could look at these really cool graphs. This equity curve shows you on the left, starting at 40,000, how much you would have made with a single position, right? You got to read it on the left side. But look at the equity curve on the right. See that? Almost up to 1.8 million. This shows you how many contracts are going. Look at how fast it got up to 30 contracts, and it came off a little, then it went up. 30 contracts all the way across. Do you realize that your risk per trade keeps going down, 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 down because your account's growing, but you're not adding to your position? By the time you get over to here, you've got probably less than 1%, maybe 0.5% risk on any given trade. How's your confidence going to be at that point as you trade your way to your dreams? This is how it's done. But you have to have the vision first. You have to have the tools to have the vision. You're not going to get this from automation. But if you experience this click for click, bar for bar, if you put in the time, you're going to get paid. There's a lot more to this than meets the eye. You can study your drawdowns. You can study your loss episodes. So many things are built into here that I don't have time to show you now. Okay, so that's the Pro version. If you ever decide you want to upgrade to it, you know, it's not that much. In fact, I even can give you a very special offer today. At the last minute, I was talking to my friends over in the office at NetPicks, and they agreed to lower the price dramatically on the Pro version if anyone were interested. However, I'm giving you the simple version free. So, you know, either way, you're going to walk away with the UTA. But the Pro version is going to be made available to whoever is interested. All right, so I just wanted to show you that, because unless you know it's here, there's no way to know that there's something there that could really help you. I really thought it was important to show you. All right, so with that, I am now going to start hitting up questions. And actually, let's see, before I even hit up the questions, let me do this. I was going to show you some of these cool charts here, but we're running out of time. And I was even going to show you on Metatrader how you could backtest. Basically, it's the same thing. You just have to read it off the data window over here. But you can see it's going to work the same. It doesn't matter what platform you use, TradeStation, Metatrader, whether this, of course, is the SST, but you could test anything you want, obviously, whatever you can think of, whatever you want to put in there. What I want to show you guys now is this. On December 13th, we've got a free interview with a really great author, Anne-Marie Bind. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Bind. The Trading Book, A Complete Solution to Mastering Technical Systems and Trading Psychology. All right, this is another great webinar that NetPicks is offering absolutely free. And you could register right now, but you got to type that in. Let me see. Let me type that in for you. I'm going to put this in the chat. Give me a second to type it in. And then all you guys got to do is click on it to be able to register. Or you can copy and save the link and register later, but you're not going to want to miss it because this is going to be an awesome interview. All right? I also want to give you the link to get the SST Simple. Let me give you that right now. And this is free. This is what you're here for. There it is. www.ultimatetradeanalyzer.com/simple download. You can click on that link and you're going to get the free version of the SST Simple. All right, so now let me just tell you this, because this just came to me now actually in an instant messenger. The professional version of the UTA typically sells for $297. If anybody is interested in that today, you get a $100 discount. So for $197, you can have the full UTA and own it forever. The full pro version. Let me just get that link in there for whoever's interested. Again, you don't have to get it. You can get the free one. But some of you may want it. And there's the link. netpicks.com/24 hours. You have 24 hours and you get the $100 discount. Not only that, but I'm able to throw in, first of all, the full version comes with a big, huge library of video trainings. The training for the UTA covers the entire package A through Z, the pro version. The UTA Simple also comes with the video training. But we also did 3 advanced training seminars that people paid for. They paid about $150 for that. And anybody that orders the pro version, I am able to give you that 3-session training in addition for no charge. Okay? And if you don't know if you want it yet, I could also give you another discount. There's a $50 discount for anybody that orders the full version by the end of the year. So it's a pretty sweet deal. You could take your time. Instead of $297, it's $247, but you also get the training, the advanced training. And here's the link for that as well. So no pressure, no hard sale. It's just, you know, a cool deal. And if you want it, there it is. And if not, at least you get the free version. And believe me, that free version is going to take you pretty darn far. All right, so those are all the links. I took care of all the business I had to take care of. And now I'm going to circle around and start hitting up these questions. And there are a lot of them, so bear with me. Let me just read through them. Hey, Mark Sellers. How you doing? Mark says hi, friend of mine. The webinar is recorded, yes. Where is the chat box? Hopefully you found it. What else? Thanks for the software. You're welcome. Let's see, any questions? Still going down, down. I see a lot of people answering my questions. How can I get that Excel file? Well, he left. Let's see. Oh, just Anthony Robinson, the email is going to be actually sent out to everyone. The email for the recording. All right, Archie with a pretty cool comment. He says, I start second guessing during backtesting. He has trouble not cheating, not changing the rules, dealing with news, etc. Archie, you know what? What you're experiencing is exactly the thing you're supposed to experience. It's going to help you the most. The thing is, you have to be steadfast and disciplined enough to just keep clicking forward and keep staying with your rules. You can always change them later, but if you don't know what to change, you're not going to benefit. So don't cheat. Just put the trades in and try to be detached. There's an old musician saying, I don't know if all of you know this, but I'm a musician. I've been playing all my entire life, and I also learned this in sports. If you practice hard, you play hard. If you practice like a wimp, you play like a wimp, okay? I learned to practice hard at a very young age, but the same is true with trading. You want to practice how you intend to trade. If you're having trouble backtesting, believe me, that's a gift that you're discovering, because what you're learning is that you're not ready to trade real money, and that's a pretty valuable lesson. That's fine. We've all been there. Sometimes we all fall back to that point also. It's what we always go through anyway, just going through the trials and tribulations of trading. But it's okay because you can overcome it. But you have to be aware of it. And then you force yourself. If you overcome it when you practice, you're going to be able to overcome it when you trade live. At least you're going to have a better chance. So hopefully you'll see the value in that. I'm showing you 2003 Excel. I like 03. I hate 07 because I don't like all those stupid little symbols. I'm old school. I just want to see the menu. That's just me. A lot of you like 07. Great. You can use 07. All right, so Ruben asked, what's the difference between the basic UTA and the Pro version? Hopefully I answered that question. You saw those cool tools that the Pro version has. Mainly it's the money management, the expectation tool, the trade distribution histograms, and a few other bells and whistles that are pretty valuable. Wolfgame asking if I have a trade system only for end of day and weekly time frames. Absolutely yes. On the 7 Summits Trader Owners Club, anyone who's a 7 Summits Trader will find trade plans for end of day, for end of week, and if you have the system, you can create your own, especially if you have the UTA, and if you got the UTA, the SST Pro, the new version, that actually comes with an automation, comes with an SST TradeStation automation module. It's an extra thing. Of course, you have to purchase it, but you can really discover some great trade plan opportunities. And Doug's saying, very cool, lots of work went into the comprehensive, yeah, a lot of work. Joe asking, can you put in the amount of shares for stock trade? That's a good question. You know, the thing you want to do is just set it to 100. And yes, you can. You can set it to a certain quantity. And then you just test every single trade with the same amount, okay? You're really trying to develop a trade plan. You're not trying to use it for real time, you know, real trade, you know, maybe one trade you put 50, maybe another trade you put 100. Can't really do that. You can double up by adding extra lines, an additional trade. Like I did 2 trades for one crude oil trade. Each one was a single contract, that type of thing. Hopefully, Jack, you learned where to put the trades. Why can't I get performance report on my trade station? Dave Liu, because you have to have automation. Can these charts be enlarged? Can the black backgrounds be changed another color? Stan, you're asking about TradeStation. You do have controls to do that. What else? How many months do you usually go back to get your data? That's a good question. I mean, I like to go back as far as I can, but it depends on if you're a day trader or a swing trader. It depends on the trade time frame. What we learned from those stability graphs is that you need to have at least 100 or so trades before you start seeing stability in your statistics. So you want to kind of go back, maybe get 300 trades, that sort of thing. So however back you go depends on if you're day trading or swing trading. Does that make sense? Tony asking if it's possible to use 6 setup types. Let me just look real quick. I don't know if 6, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 setup types, not 6. Sorry. I had to put the line somewhere. Only been trading highs, Afshin. What is contract? Well, that was crude oil we were looking at, Afshin. How do you backtest a Metatrader? Kay asking. Well, it's basically the exact same exercise. You got to just put the trades in. So if you're looking at Metatrader, let's just say, you know, Metatrader is a little clumsier than TradeStation, but you learn how to use it. You can click on the setup bar, hit the Alt key, and now it doesn't move anymore. You can come over here and you can get off the data window your entry, your targets, your stops. Now that's assuming that you're using a trade system that's got some level of sophistication built into it. Otherwise, let's just say it's a blank chart and you're not using any system. You just have to enter in where your trade entry is. It's the same thing. You type in the same information. You just got to read it off of the chart. So if you're doing a trend line or if you're shorting a head and shoulders or whatever you're doing, you know, you can still put in your entries, your exits, and it doesn't matter what charting system you're using. Does that make sense? Aaron says, I'm a newbie. Will this system be available anytime I'm ready to start my demo account or go active trading? Aaron, I don't know if you're referring to the UTA or the SST system. I was showing you the SST because that's the system I designed. I co-developed it along with NetPicks, and because that's what I use, I was showing you. That's how I developed the UTA. The UTA is the spreadsheet that teaches you all about your trades. When you put those trades in there, you get that for free. If you want to learn about the SST, you can. In fact, you can go to this link right here, 7summitstrader.com. There it is in the chat box. And you can learn all about the SST, and I encourage you to do that. It's an awesome system. I call a live trade room and doing so for nearly 4 years, and I've been using the SST since April of 2010, and I still use it every single day. And I rely on it, I lean on it, and it's what gives me the winning track record that I've been able to compile over the years. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in the SST, to go take a look at it. Eric, do you see the software link? You said you didn't see it. Hopefully you see it now. Let's see, link for free version asks for email address but nowhere to put it. Then it tells you you made an error, not able to download it. JW, are you still having trouble? I don't know, maybe there was a lot of people hitting it at the same time. But if anyone's having trouble, I'm going to give you my email address. There it is, tjnoon@netpicks.com, TJNOON @netpicks.com. And I'd be happy to help anyone that's having trouble or that has any questions. And Ken asking if there's training. Yes, there is. Can it use for Forex spot? Of course it can. Any market. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When do I get the UTA site? When I go to the UTA site, there's no place to enter my email to get access. Okay, so I'm getting a few people having problems there, but you got my email, so that's your fallback. Which is the link for the training videos? When you get the UTA, there's some links that take you to the training. If you're referring to the pro version where you actually, you have that deal where you could buy the pro version, then we will send you links for the 3 additional advanced training videos. Mona says, I do have the full version of this, but can't access the link. Seems to be corrupted. Can I get a new link and also get access to the training and advanced videos? Mona, just send in an email to info@netpix.com, and I'm sure someone will take care of you on that. The basic thing you offer free is nothing, boss. I don't know what you're talking about. Couldn't get the UTA link. What is the difference between the UMT and the SST? I already have UMT but have not used it for a while but want to get back up to speed. Is SST much better? B, the UMT and the SST are completely different strategies, and the SST has already been established as the best trade system that NetPix has ever had. So there's a lot of differences. The SST is far more advanced. It could be as simple as you want it to be, but it will also scale up as you develop as a trader. So if you visit the 7summitstrader.com website, you can learn more about it. But it incorporates what we have determined to be the 7 keys to successful trading, all wrapped up into one elegant, simple-to-use system. And it's what you were seeing that I was showing you. UMT is still a great system, and it still works to this very day. But it's yesteryear's system. The SST is just far more advanced, far more flexible, and quite a bit more profitable. Mona, it does work on Office 2010 to the best of my knowledge. Is this product worth buying if I am an SST Pro? And Mark Brown asking if this is worth buying, and the answer is an absolute capital yes. And Mark, you know what you could do? You can come into the trade room, the live trade room, and you could put that very question out in the chat to all the members and let them answer you. It's not, you don't have to just take my point of view. But I would say resoundingly yes. If I were your trade coach, I would insist you use it. For all the reasons I said, basically the most important thing is you're going to recalibrate your own internal self and learn how to remove yourself from the trade. And that's the most value that anyone could ever hope for, because that's usually what people do, is they sabotage their own trading just by being a human being. And this system, this tool, is it's like the concrete, objective, hands-on way to solve that problem. It's not just esoteric, subjective, intangible, theoretical stuff that you've read about all your life. This is an actual concrete, step-by-step approach that you could do that'll help you solve this trade psychology issues that haunts most traders. I mean, it's the only, if you think about it, who else is going to tell you what to do to solve that problem and actually give you a concrete pathway to take? Most people are going to tell you how to meditate and do some sort of Zen-like thing. But when it comes right down to it, that's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to make that effective. This is a concrete way to solve your trade psychology issues. Most people, that goes over their head and they don't realize it. But if you can realize that, then you're going to realize really the most important step you could take towards success. That's my personal opinion. But it's also the opinion of a lot of other traders that have gone through that process. More info on the SST for MT4. Tony, it's it's all there. 7summitstrader.com. Another one asking about the SST, Santosh Pinto. Hopefully you got that. Does your video training guide teach you ground zero to use UTA? Absolutely, it does. And of course, I just showed it to you also, and you can always review this presentation. Doug's saying he's trying to get a handle on what duration date range to get valid and meaningful realistic optimization results. Well, that's always the problem, Doug, because date ranges are a fleeting thing. I mean, depending on what date range you look at, it's going to completely change your result. That's the problem with automated testing and optimization. But if you do it manually, you'll make observations. You want to hear a little story? You all know about the Get Bob trade, the Get Back on Board? Well, I didn't really show it to you. That trade is like a trade setup within a trade setup. If you have the SST, you're able to identify the Get Bob trade. Well, the only reason I discovered it was by using the UTA. by manually clicking through my charts and developing a personal relationship with my charts and my win-loss column. And I noticed a reoccurring pattern that has proven to be very profitable, so much so that it is now the fourth setup that we teach with the SST. But it came about from the manual backtesting. You're going to learn the same type of thing with date range, duration, that sort of thing. You're never going to get that with an automated backtest, not in a meaningful way. At least that's my opinion. The box is unlabeled but works and is near the bottom of the page. Okay, so Steven's saying that it does work. You just got to go lower. Thank you for that, Steven. And Brian's saying that too. How long will the UTA download and videos be available? Well, Mohammed, the UTA Simple is available now. So, you know, if you go home or in a few days, whatever, if you're not anywhere where you can download it, it'll still be available. The link's going to work. But if you want to buy the full UTA Pro version, you got 24 hours to get the $100 discount. So for $197, I mean, come on, that's like 2 points in the Russell Mini. It's nothing. And if you need to wait longer, you still get the $50 discount. I mean, even if you pay full price, it's a priceless tool. You lose money by not having it. You make money when you learn what it teaches you. So it's one of those can't live without type of deals, in my opinion. Robert says, have UMT, but thinking about getting SST in trading room. What is the average stop loss for crude and the TF? Good question, Robert. I don't have those open right now, but I do believe that the average losing trade on the Russell is around 18 ticks, if I remember correctly. And of course, you know, we utilize a trailing stop so you can get much bigger moves. And on crude, I don't remember, but it's very profitable. And of course, there's so many other things you can trade, not just those two markets. But unfortunately, Robert, I don't have it open. What I could do is show you the back test on the 610 tick. We do a 377 tick in the trade room, but looking at the 610, you can see the average losing trade is $233. So that's like 23 cents, and that's a much bigger trade than the 377. So you could extrapolate from that when we're trading a 377 tick chart, the average loss is going to be less than 23 ticks. So hopefully that helps you. And this is just a back test, and that's from 09. But, you know, crude trades the way crude trades. I mean, look at crude was at $68 a barrel back in September 28th of 09. Now it's like it was 101 or 102 today or whatever. So, you know, same market, dynamics have changed a tiny bit, but they're basically the same. Have a second instructional webinar running with this and miss most of the Q&A. All right, Doug, well, you can hear the recording. More people saying that it works. Azar, love it, pray for you always. Guess what? I'm praying for you too, because that's why we're giving it to you. We want you to succeed. You may not know this, but we're all traders here at NetPicks, and we have a very close relationship with our membership, and we truly want our members to succeed. If you're not a NetPicks member, well, guess what? We'll invite you in. But regardless, we want our members, our attendees, anyone that has anything to do with us, we really want you to succeed. So we always try to come out with the best of everything. We're always pushing the limits. The next thing we come out with will definitely be better than what we got now. I mean, that's a hard act because the SST is pretty darn good, but we'll manage it somehow. I don't know when, but it'll happen. Doug says, I'm trying to get a handle on what duration. All right, we already saw that. What else? So you have a live web room. Jens, we have a live trade room, and you don't have to be an SST member. You can sign up for it if you want. We do allow the public to sign up for it. Super inexpensive. I think it's like $200 a month. I mean, it's literally one winning trade a month. And you can go to netpicks.com and sign up for it. You get 2 free weeks too. So there you go. And if you're an SST member, you also get access to it as a place to trade with us and train with us. Yes, it's the charts part. What do I have to do to see the part where you enter your trades? Carl, what UTA are you referring to? Because you may have to enable your macros. That's probably what's happening. You got to go into your Excel and enable macros. That should solve that problem. Jan's, the trading time for the live room, we typically start trading 2 Forex charts at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. You can get in there a little early. Then 20 minutes later, we trade crude oil futures. And then about 40 minutes after that, we start the Russell E-mini. And an hour after that, we start wheat futures. So we're trading 5 different markets, really good cross-section, all very successful. And then by 11 a.m., we're pretty much finished. Mark C., thank you for an interesting presentation. Look forward to using your free spreadsheet. Yes, you're welcome. I look forward to you using it as well. The webinar title addresses backtesting, specifically looking for informed feedback on optimal date ranges to backtest on. Doug, you know, it really depends on the market, but let me give you a few guidelines, okay? If you want to test the European session with Forex, if you're a day trader, then you're looking at around 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., okay? If you want to test day trade Forex, you know, I would look at probably 8:30 a.m. to 11 or 8:30 a.m. to noon. Maybe you start a little earlier, but those are the time frames that seem to work really good for me. That's what we use in the trade room. And you can just focus on those key time frames for Forex. If you're trading E-minis like the Russell, you know, the market opens at 9:30 Eastern, but at 9:32 is when I'm going to start trading the Russell. And I learned that from the UTA. You want to hear something interesting? All through 2010, the 2 minutes between 9:30 and 9:32 made 35 points on the Russell. And then in 2011, the same 2 minutes lost 35 points. Pretty interesting. Would have never known that if not for the UTA. So basically, it was a wash. And by eliminating that first 2 minutes, the winning percentage goes up. You take fewer trades, and you get to your quitting goals more readily, just by those 2 minutes. Pretty interesting, huh? So while it's impossible to know for sure every single market, you can pretty much look at where the volume is and focus on where the most action is. So you can put on an average true range on your chart. You can look at volume bars and determine where most of the action is taking place on your particular market. Focus on that. And you could use your UTA and use the time of day studies to fine-tune it. So I hope that helps you as far as that question goes. Really good question. Any special pricing on the SST? And yes, definitely. We always have special pricing. And I'll let the cat out of the bag, but we're about ready to promote the SST again for the end of the year. It'll be your last chance to get it. Make sure you pay attention to your inbox, because you'll be receiving something on that. Can metastock charting work? Well, not on the SST, although we are beginning discussions with metastock. I can't promise anything, but it is possible. But you certainly can use your data from metastock to populate your UTA spreadsheet. And Doug, yeah, you go through manually. I mean, that's the only way to really learn. The automation is a good way to point you in the right direction, but then you still should go through and do the manual work for all the reasons we've been discussing. I missed the free link. Can you put that up again? Pam, look in your chat box. You should have a chat box. You open it up and you'll see all the links, including the free link. Anybody see that? Let me see if I could give it to you again. Copy. Yeah, I don't know. I can't for some reason put it into the question box, but there it is in the chat box again, okay? And then tjnoon@netpicks.com. If you need to email me, if you're still having problems, I will get that to you. This is Afshin ordered SST Pro yesterday. Congratulations, Afshin. Want to be in the webinar? Will be like this session. Afshin, yeah, Afshin's bringing up a good point. We just came out with the SST Pro version, okay? I didn't get a chance to show you that today. Very powerful. And it's coming with 3 full days of boot camp style training. I mean, nuts to bolts, we're going to teach you this. And that training begins on Monday, this coming Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If you got the SST Pro, you will receive an email that will teach you or give you the links on how to log in with all the instructions. This training, you can attend it live in Orlando, or you can tune in over the internet and also have access to the live training videos. We're going to record the whole thing. So that's an extra value that we've given to everybody who ordered the SST Pro. Okay, that just came off the market like I think yesterday or the day before. But you may have another chance to get the SST Pro. If anyone's interested and want to attend this training coming up, you should send me an email immediately because it's almost too late. Maybe I could talk NetPicks into letting me give you the SST Pro and the training. Not give you, but sell you, of course. But it's a great, incredible system. And the training itself is worth more than what we're even charging for the system. That's another story. Robert, is there a list of the markets you trade in the trading room and what time? Robert, hopefully you just heard me answer that. Euro US, Euro Yen, crude oil, Russell E-mini, wheat futures. We begin at 8:30 and we end around 11 a.m. Is there a discount for SST for people who originally purchased the UMT? Yes, Robert, we always take care of people who are members. There's a family discount for the SST, definitely. What happens to people outside U.S. to attend your training room? Well, you get to log in over the internet. So you just have to get the times right. I mean, all the times they gave you are Eastern Standard Time, but you log in, you definitely attend from the comfort of your own home, right over the internet. And I'm going to project out charts. I'm going to call out trades. We're going to answer questions. You can react with the other traders. It's a pretty cool environment. A lot of successful traders in there. You know, one quick way to success is surrounding yourself with successful traders. That's one of the benefits of the live trade room. I like to get SST, but not sure about your trade room. As I am based in Australia, can I send you email for further care? Yeah, you can send me an email. Hopefully I just answered your question. Obviously, you're going to have to get up at a bizarre time that may not be comfortable for you, but you could do that while you're training, and then once you get the SST mastered, you know, you may not need the trade room anymore. You'll be able to make that decision when you're ready to make it, though. Doug, I was referring to how many months or years to backtest to get 99% accuracy. You know, Doug, if you're swing trading, it still boils down to number of trades. You know, on a weekly chart, I'm looking back 10 years because that's about the limit that I get from TradeStation. On a daily chart, I found 5 years is pretty good. You could go back 10 years. But if you're manually backtesting, you're going to learn so much anyway. And markets change. I mean, the backtesting you're getting from 10 years ago may not really mean much today. One cool thing about the SST is it's always dynamically tuning itself to market conditions. You don't have to relearn the system. I mean, back in '99 and year 2000, I was trading .com companies that don't even exist today. And some of them do exist, but they've been flatlined. So do you think it's going to really help me if I have all that data in the UTA? It won't. You have to take it with a grain of salt. What you're really looking at are those stability indicators. When you get up around 100 or so trades, you start seeing that stability graph flatten out. That's when you know you're getting close to having good data and where you can rely on the results. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Macros enabled, problem solved. Cool. UTA looks very impressive. I recognize the huge amount of work it represents. Yes, Doug. But the work is only beginning because now you've got to do the work to put it in, but that's how you're going to benefit. You know, you invest in yourself. It's the best investment you could ever make. You're going to really learn how to trade by using the UTA. I do broad automation to find the ballpark, then I'll go through the manual instead to fine tune. Yeah, awesome. That's what I recommend also. What sort of price range is the SST? SST is pretty inexpensive. I mean, gee, we made back the SST in the last 2 days of trading crude just in the trade room. It sells from anywhere from, I want to say, $1,300 to $1,800 but I think that there may be a pretty cool promotion at the end of the year. Not sure yet, but if you're a family member, if you own another SST product, it's even cheaper. But I mean, geez, training courses that come with this kind of power sell for between $5,000 to $10,000 from all our competition. They're not nearly as effective or as good as the SST or the training you get. So I mean, it's a no-brainer no matter how you look at it. In my opinion, of course, I might be a little biased since I am the author. When is the link for SST Pro coming out? Well, right around the live training is when we're making that available. So early this week coming up, probably over the weekend or Monday morning is what I'm guessing. By and large, longer period is better. Doug, yes, I agree, but remember, you still have to put it in context because of how markets do tend to change over time. Like maybe put more weight on the more current trades versus the ones that happened a long time ago type of thing. But you know what? You want your system to hold up through thick or thin and through various market conditions, and so you know, not only are you looking at a longer period of time, but you might want to look at different time frames, like look at a tick chart and a time-based chart and come up with the best duration of time frame on your chart. You know, that's a whole nother discussion, but it's definitely worth thinking about and looking at. But the UTA will help you with that. Thanks very much for your presentation and the free UTA. You're welcome, Ronald. And using UTA and Forex in order to get stats on different pairs, where do you enter? Okay, Tony, let me show you something. Let's say you want to look at the Euro-US. You're going to open up, let me get to the UTA Lite version. You're going to open up UTA Lite, and then you're going to go ahead and save as. So let's say we want to test a Euro-US. And you want it to be an end-of-day chart. Doesn't matter, but you just save it as, okay? So there, I saved it as. The next thing I'm going to do, well, let it save, okay, is I'm going to use this really cool button here that says Clear Log. And when I click here at Clear Log, it's going to ask me, am I sure I want to clear it? Yes. Are you totally sure? Yes. Guess what? Now we have a totally blank data log and a brand new sheet. Remember, we're not going to start entering in 29. We're going to start entering in row 30. Up here, I'm going to change the symbol to EURUSD. We'll do a 5-minute chart. And we're going to say that we're going to do full-size lots. So every pip is worth 10 bucks. If you want to do mini lots, then you can call every pip $1. It's up to you, but that's where you set it, right up here on top. And now you're ready to go. What if you don't want to enter decimals? You can change that. You can set the decimals to 0. So let's just say you put in a date for a trade. We'll just do 1 afternoon. I don't know what it is, but let's just say we enter it at 11 a.m. and we're getting long at, let's just say we're getting long at 34.42, 1.3442, but I'm not going to put the 1 point in there because I just assume not type in those extra digits if I don't have to. That's why I set it to 0 on the decimals. I'm just going to put in 3442. Now what if we get out 10 pips later at 3452? Well, let's say we get out 20 pips later at 3462. There's my exit, and we're going to call it a basic trade, but you can label it whatever you want. There it is. You made 20 pips right there. If you wanted to do 2 positions, you can just copy and paste this like that, and let's say your trailer got out at 3483. 3483. Boom. There, it made 41 pips. Your total trade made 61 pips. That's it. And you can go ahead and backtest. That's how you do it. It's really quite simple. This is your trade log. you could not only backtest, but when you're done backtesting, now you could practice trade in a sim account to see if you can get the same results you backtested, all the while putting in the trades. So your backtest becomes a forward test. And you could use the stats to monitor your results to make sure they hold up. And then when you start trading real money, same thing. You keep putting them in your log, and you build up a big database of trades. You are going to learn more from doing this than anything else you could ever do trading, in my opinion. And I've been doing this a long time. That's why we created this tool. This tool came out from the need to have this tool, to have this kind of information. We had to create this tool, so we did. You know, as a live trade room host, it's not easy living on the right edge of the chart, having to call trades and having every person in that room hanging on my every word. I mean, I need to have tools. Otherwise, people are going to lose their money. I can't say every single trade I call is a winner. It's not. But I've learned how to lean on my system and put together a long-term winning track record. If you just trade responsibly and correctly, you benefit indirectly from these tools that I'm using. Well, you could use them now. You could benefit more directly yourself also. But the point is that without tools like this, you're like everyone else, just, you know, swinging in the dark, walking down the street with a black hood over your head. That's what trading is. This shines a light, gives you a glimpse. That's what you need to put the odds in your favor. Let's see, a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Afshin, SST Pro costs $19.97 for new ones. Okay, good. He just bought it, so he should know. I'm not really on the sales side, you guys. I'm more of the teach you how to use it side. How much money can I make on average using UTA? Well, geez, Sam, hard question to answer. Instead of asking how much money you can make or answering that, I could just say that the odds of you succeeding as a trader dramatically increase. How's that for an answer? Alan Dyer says no way to download, and he left the room. Well, hopefully he figured it out. He'll get an email anyway. I think doing the fine optimization manually with UTA will take care of the optimization date range. Okay, yes, you're right, Doug. So you got to use a different sheet for each pair. Tony, again, all right, here's another good question. First of all, you should use a different sheet for each pair, because then you're going to get all the really great statistics for each specific pair. But you can also be creative. Let's say you want to compare 5 pairs. You can label your setup type for each pair as long as you've got the dollars per pip equal. Okay, that's the other thing you have to remember. So if you're doing all dollar-based pairs, you can have each pair, each pip equal $10. You can change. You can go to edit, and you can, instead of having B for basic, you can set that one for the EU. You can set that one for the pound dollar. You can set this one for, you know, whatever else you want to set it for. The point is that you can label your trades based on different pairs, and you can use up to 5. But the dollar, you have to make sure your dollar per pip is equal. Okay? Now that'll give you a different type of information that would be very interesting. But you're not going to be able to necessarily get, well, you'll still be able to slice and dice because of the summaries. You'll still be able to get cool results for each setup type because of your summary studies. So there's a couple different ways you can go. So maybe that gave you an idea that might help you. If you want to put a few pairs on the same sheet, it actually would make for a real interesting result. You know, you get some good information out of that, I think. Just like I use different targeting with the silver ETF, you could also do this idea. You know, the setup type column is very powerful. It's only limited to your imagination. Let's see, a side question. When you are giving the market on the news. Almost all FX pairs are in comparison to the U.S. What is the U.S. itself relative to? Gold. I think it's more relative to perception, Doug. I mean, it's not on the gold standard, so no, not gold. Used to be. It's all perception, really, in my opinion. Tony, thanks for the heads up on that. You're welcome. And that's the last question, everybody. We did it. And hopefully it was an enjoyable experience for you. Let me just put this up one last time. Really great interview with author Anne-Marie Bain on December 13th. And hopefully you guys saw my email, but if you have any questions, here you go. You've got the info at netpicks.com, you got phone numbers, you got the website, you can sign up for the live trade room, 7summitstrader.com if you want information on that. John says, can I see this webinar again if I missed part of it? Yes, you can. We have recorded it. So if you don't get an email follow-up from us, you could always write back to us and request it. What else? What am I missing, guys? I think I got it all. Tony, very cool presentation. Thanks again. You're very welcome. Doug says you moved fast and went through a lot of stuff. Experience comes before expertise, even in the dictionary. Yeah, Doug, well, I had to go fast. You know your stuff. Yep, thank you. Sounds like you're a pretty smart guy, too. The fact that you're here tells me a lot. The whole idea is that you do have the recording to review this. I had to move fast because we have limited time, and I've gone 40 minutes over, but it was worth it because a lot of great questions. Afshin, thank you a lot. See you in the trading room. Yep, for sure. You're welcome, Jans. And all right, everybody. Well, thanks again. Enjoy your free UTA. Enjoy the webinar on the 13th. Take advantage of the UTA Pro. It's literally going to cost you, a ham sandwich in New York City. It's worth it. And wish everyone the best in their trading. And I'll see you all again another time. Hasta la pasta and ciao for now.